Hello, my name is Seth Williams, and for my speech class today I'll be going over two new topics to do with the electrical industry. Today for my audience I will have my sister-in-law, Reagan. Filming is my little brother, Micah.
Yeet.
My wife, Jocelyn. Reagan's friend, Angela. And my niece, Lexi. Okay. Today I'm talking about the Tennessee Valley Authority. It's a nuclear power plant down in Hollywood, Alabama. They're selling over 1,600 acres and worth over $34.6 million. They've been told around the area that they should keep it for an investment and for development purposes, but they still feel like selling it. And the TVA purchased it back in the 1970s. Found this on www.elp.com. The other thing we'll be discussing is the Wheat Ridge Wind Energy Farm. It's owned by Swaggart Wind Power. Over 13,000 acres will be in this wind energy farm, and there will be over 292 turbines. It'll be a 230 kilovolt transmission. The rotor diameters will be anywhere from 337 feet to 393 feet, and the blades will be anywhere from 167 feet to 197 feet. Now, if I can get you input from the audience, I appreciate it.
How will the wind farm impact the environment?
Well, from what I read earlier in that article, and they didn't do a lot from on in Oregon, but I read a lot from what's been going on in Nebraska so far. You know, as far as the environmental impacts, as far as with anything that they see with the atmosphere and everything, as far as pollutants, there's nothing. But the biggest thing that they've been finding is with migrating birds. There's been a lot of migrating birds that's been killed. They've also found that whereas these ranchers that have these windmills out in their pastures have been finding a loss to livestock. There tends to be, during the night, ice produced on the wind turbines, and as they start spinning in the morning it'll throw ice, and they have found damages to not only equipment but livestock losses because it throws ice chunks quite a ways and at a very high velocity. So between livestock and equipment losses to the people that own land around these windmills, there also has the environmental loss to the migrating birds that travel around the windmills.
Do you find there to be an economic benefit to the area, though?
Yes, yes, there has been. You look at those small areas around there when the companies come in and build these wind turbines. There's a drastic impact. There's an improvement in the economy in those areas. You look at lodging. People need to stay in hotels. They need to eat. And for a short term, there is a drastic impact in there. But for as long term, as far as the upkeep of these windmills, there's nothing really stable in that certain area. And usually they have somebody centrally located that travels to all these different windmills to maintain them. So for a short time, yes, there's a very great impact for it, but for the long term, there really isn't anything that really is very stable.
What about not just regionally, but nationally? Is there an economic benefit to producing energy, renewable energy in this country versus importing other forms of?
With this wind energy and even with nuclear energy, I feel there is a benefit to producing your own energy. The nuclear energy, I feel there's a bigger impact. The problem I find with the wind energy is that you still have to mine the iron, you still have to mine lithium to produce the batteries, and you look at the lifespan of these windmills, it's going to take you over 80 years to actually get back the money you put into these windmills, and their lifespan is looking at 60 to 70 years. So by the time you get the money back in these windmills are already out of date. And so it's, I feel, not a very positive effect on what you want.
So the windmills only last for 60 years, and it takes 80 years to recoup the costs to build it?
As far as the research I have done, that is what it says. Now, you could tell me something different, but the research I have done so far, that is what it says.
So I want to switch real quick because all we've been talking about is wind. You also brought up the nuclear issue. Could you remind me, give me a refresher, because I've been focused on that wind for a minute.
Yep. It's in Tennessee Valley down in Hollywood, Alabama. It's a 16,000 acre establishment, and they're just selling it is the biggest thing. It's changing hands, and it's owned by the Bellefonte Group.
I mean, we have a nuclear plant in Nebraska.
Yeah.
Can you tell me anything about that? Do you know much about that?
I don't know anything about that.
I've heard oftentimes people say that one of the biggest threats in terms of terrorism in this country is a threat on our nuclear plant.
Yeah, and you can see that. I mean, if you've God, what's the place that blew up there over in Russia?
Chernobyl.
Chernobyl. You know, you look at what happened in Chernobyl there. I mean, you look at over 300 square miles that's now uninhabitable. You know, and yeah, that's a very drastic impact. If they were happen to blow that up or do anything with it, yes, but the same thing could be said. Not in such a drastic point, but you look at an ethanol plant. How many lives could be lost if somebody blew up an ethanol plant? It wouldn't be that sort of sustainable effect, but at the same time, it's still, if you were to go blow up an ethanol plant, you're still looking at a massive loss in lives, a massive loss to the economy in that area. So, I mean, it could be said for anything in that fact. I mean, you can't always look at what the terroristic effect is to the effect on what it is to the economy in that area.
Who are they selling it to?
And it's up for a bid right now. There's nobody
So
specific.
what qualifies someone to buy a nuclear plant?
Anybody that's got enough money. As far as I read in that article, is anybody that had enough money
So
to come in and buy it.
So it's a plant that is out of commission right now?
No, it's
I don't
currently in commission. It's just the
Okay.
company that owns it is no longer wants to deal with it. And they're just
Oh.
selling
So it's operational, it's actually operating?
it. It is actually operational.
Okay,